Welcome to the Sports Misfits,
where unlike Meryl Streep, we love watching football and mixed martial arts. I'm your host, Michael Asiffo.
And I'm your host, Annikan Okutinyang.
Annikan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to everybody in this first episode.
We didn't have a New Year show, but we did have a Christmas special, which wasn't really Christmassy. I think it was just kind of a show we put up
on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
it was more the day than the events.
Honest to goodness, I love doing a show on Christmas Eve that isn't a best of show, unlike any other podcast.
Because I feel like TSN does that. Like a lot of they do the best plays of the year.
Yeah. I don't know. The best of shows aren't really that good to me. No offense.
I feel like, especially because of time constraints, they don't get to actually cover and I feel like a lot of things get left out.
Yeah,
it's
not like a compilation, more like just talking points, right?
Yeah.
Which are cool, but the shows, the actual legit shows is what we stay for. Anyway.
Well, Happy New Year to everyone. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Do you want to focus on not Helen Mirren, whatever. Meryl Streep or Meryl Streep, whatever.
I don't even know the comment, but
I don't know. She said something at the Golden Globes about football and MMA, and everybody's upset. It's really not that serious.
Okay, MMA so it was yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, MMA is a great sport. Don't let somebody's words offend you. Because you know what the problem with MMA is? MMA has fought so hard to be considered legitimate. And now that it is legitimate, people understand that they can't go back to the days where the one boxing glove, one fist guy and the 500-pound sumo wrestler. They can't go back to those days. And I think people, whenever someone questions the legitimacy of MMA, they get so defensive, right? But anyway, let's plug the show. If you'd like to catch these Sports Misfits, you can do it on SoundCloud and iTunes.
That's www.soundcloud.com/thesportsmisfits.
Yes, sir.
And you can also catch us on Twitter at Sports Misfits.
At Sports Misfits.
Yeah, at Sports Misfits. And you can catch up all the updates about things such as Michael's Sober Thought, podcast segments, full episodes, and other things from Fan Eye Sports.
Yeah, we've also decided to include street interviews on that Twitter as well. So if you look and you notice that we are doing some street interview links with Fan Eye Sports, something I'm very proud of. I really enjoy street interviews. I think they're even better than my Sober Thought videos, to be honest.
Right.
So street interviews, we've also decided to share those as well. So street interviews, Sober Thoughts, not just the podcast stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff to go on Twitter for.
Right.
If you'd like to catch us on iTunes, I don't think we've said this already, The Sports Misfits, anything.
Just search it put it in the search bar.
Yeah, and you'll find us. Trust us, you'll find us.
Yeah, and also YouTube, Fan Eye Sports. That's the parent organization for us comm majors, the media conglomerate.
Yeah.
The media conglomerate component of Sports Misfits. The parent organization.
Yeah.
So that's Fan Eye Sports TV on YouTube. Fan Eye Sports TV, podcast segments, episodes, Michael's Sober Thought, as aforementioned, and all those good stuff.
Yeah. You can also catch Fan Eye Sports, our parent company, the conglomerate to the Sports Misfits. You can catch them at Fan Eye Sports, all one word, all lowercase, on Twitter and Instagram. And their Facebook group is Fan-Eye Sports.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say?
Oh, yeah, and also back to the Golden Globes, just one quick thing. A very monumental achievement happened last night at the award show. For the first time in 34 years, a black woman won the Female Actress Award. Tracee Ellis Ross, probably know her from the comedy Girlfriends in the early 2000s. And
girlfriends.
Yeah, honestly, I never really got into the show. I saw it a few times.
I saw one, too.
Because we were young then.
Yeah. So we didn't get the joke.
Yeah, we were
But see, you can't use that excuse for everything. Because I loved the Jamie Foxx show.
Right. Okay, yeah. Because things like Cosby Show, those were more elevated. Fresh Prince, those ones you had more access to. Girlfriends, that was when it was going on. But for me, it was also
a lot. It was very risque as opposed to the Jamie Foxx show and the Fresh Prince. It was risque. Not definitely not like Blackish like she's in now, which is a family show.
Yeah.
But
how do you mean like it wasn't as like
the
family
content
friendly? Okay.
Yeah, the content wasn't as family friendly as like,
single
we remember.
women living in like San Francisco. Yeah. Like it's
I'm not saying it was
the places you can go to are more. Yeah, it definitely wasn't like. It wasn't an HBO show.
Yeah, but it was.
But it wasn't like it wasn't PBS Kids. Either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, congratulations, Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yeah, congratulations. I was I watched Blackish. I love the show. So.
You know where I remember her best from? Now we're delving up. You know where I remember her best from? Remember Kanye West before all.
Yes,
Kanye West
touch the sky.
Touch the sky.
Touch the sky.
Her part in that video was hilarious. I told you he's gonna leave you for a white girl. Look at all of that, and they have to cut to like that was funny. But
I remember that. I actually laughed when I saw that.
Anyway, let's get into the topics, and we got a lot of things going on, and today is the day that the NCAA football is going on. But we're gonna focus on the past stuff, and on Saturday and yesterday, Sunday, the day of our Lord, we had some football.
Wow.
It's the day of our Lord.
It is.
Sorry, the day of my Lord. I don't know.
Mine.
Yeah, I don't know
and
about
mine.
anybody else's. I know the Muslims celebrate on Friday, so I don't want to exclude anyone. Muslims are welcome to listen to this show. But the NFL had their breakdown and their wildcard weekend, and it really, when you see wildcard weekends games, they're usually close, they're usually at the wire, and they're some of the best games of the playoffs. This time around, that was not the case, as many teams failed miserably in the attempt to get into the wild card, and we're going to start over with the which game you want to start with? Do you want to go Saturday to Sunday, or do you want to just
Saturday to Sunday? Let's do it in chronological order. I want to start with the Lions Seahawks.
Okay, I think chronologically Texas versus
not
Texas.
Okay, we could start
Houston
with that.
Versus,
we could start with that.
Okay, so Houston versus Oakland, which was basically the ugly duckling of the games when we were taking a look at these games. Houston beat a battered and scarred Oakland team by a score of 27-14. Brock Osweiler was in. I thought Brock Osweiler was okay. I didn't think he was terrible. But, Annikan, what's your thoughts on that game?
For me, this was, I think, kind of the coming out party for Jadeveon Clowney. And Jadeveon Clowney was somebody who was, some people may even, I think, it seems like a lot of people have forgotten his existence. This is the person who was drafted number 1 overall in the 2014 NFL draft. There were a lot of questions about his he has all the physical tools. He's a physical specimen. He's like 6'5", 6'6", like 2 in the neighborhood of 270. And he's just somebody who's a physical beast at every level. He has otherworldly tools, but there were questions about his commitment, his level, like his engagement. Will he take plays off? Is he somebody that's fully committed to the game? Is he lethargic when it comes, because at South Carolina, there were a lot of questions about that.
Yeah,
but his first year he was injured. He only played 1 game. And he was injured the rest of the year.
And Khalil Mack, who was the next defensive player to be drafted, has had 2 Pro Bowls since.
Yeah.
Jadeveon Clowney obviously is going to a Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah, so this year has been like a kind of his coming out party. And this game, he got an interception, returned it for 3 yards, and I was really happy just to see that for him. And he really had a lot to do with what they did on Saturday. Like, the defense was just smothering. And Brock Osweiler actually looked surprisingly okay.
He looked okay.
Surprisingly. But for him, okay this year is, phenomenal.
Yeah, he's been bad.
Had 8 touchdowns and 12 picks.
Yeah, that was bad. 14-25, 168, 1 pass touchdown.
Also for Osweiler, he had a 90.1 passer rating, 56% completion. That's pretty good for him.
Yeah. Again, on Jadeveon Clowney, I don't want to rain on your parade, but he had 1 tackle, including solo, assists, everything. He got
but that interception, that's big.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
And it's big. And Jadeveon, and this was his first playoff game or second.
His first playoff.
Because last year they went.
Yeah, they went to playoffs last year.
But he didn't play.
I don't think he
did. We'll get to that in corrections and clarifications. But for him, that's very monumental. And you look about it this year, this is the great thing about the NFL playoffs all year. Oakland, second best offensive line in the NFL. after Dallas. Khalil Mack, he's a beast. Derek Carr, the emergence of Derek Carr. Yes, he was injured, he couldn't play. But look, in the playoffs, that all goes out the window. We're about right now.
But speaking about Derek Carr.
And Houston, nobody talked about Houston. All I heard about Houston was Tompkins fell off.
DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins fell off. That's all I heard about.
I mean, it was
J.J. Watt's injury.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a combination of maybe DeAndre Hopkins was not as good this year, but also Brock Osweiler was garbage. And speaking on that point, I think that Derek Carr was the main story because Oakland with Derek Carr was a Super Bowl contender. We sat here talking about if they were the team to perhaps knock Dallas.
Yeah, but I thought it was a bad idea to play him on Christmas Eve.
I mean, was it though?
You know, I
You're
think it was.
going for the division. There's two other teams in your division who are nipping at your heels, who ended up overtaking.
But once you're in, they're already in. Like for me,
but you don't want the wild card. You want the division, right?
Yeah, you want the division. But I just feel like they were already gonna win, and I just feel like they could have taken him. Like, give him some reps, get him a couple drives or a couple possession, a couple.
But are we talking? If we say that, we're saying that now that he's injured, right?
No, even going into that game, I don't think that week we didn't do a show, obviously, but I was already thinking that week that Derek Carr's all right. They're gonna be in.
But that's what
get him two or three
but that's what everyone says. That's what everyone says. I was like, even before the game that he got injured in, I was saying,
But then it's just like with the Cavs thing last year. No one can say because really no one said what I said last year about.
But you can't always just bring up the Cavs every time there's a point. I'm just saying.
No, I really can because you literally ate squid at Mandarin. You ate squid and crow.
Okay, no, I get it, but like you can't say that for every time something happens. My point is this:
well,
you want the division. I cannot say that it was a bad decision. You want the division,
right?
No team goes, okay, the wild card.
No, what I'm saying is that once,
all right,
like you play them 1 or 2 quarters, and once you see that you guys are clearly in control of the game, just give the backup some reps.
But they weren't.
I know, but I'm saying
they weren't. But they weren't in control of the game. But
you have to do what you can to preserve your quarterback. That's all I'm saying. Because yes, he can play in the game, but he doesn't have to play the whole game.
I just think that you're using the advantage of hindsight to
it's not about hindsight.
To make a decision.
I'm not about hindsight. I was even worried about. I was worried about even. I mean, I was even worried like last weekend. I was worried. That's why even Dallas was smart. They didn't play Dak Prescott the whole. They used all 3 quarterbacks. But by that point, they had
Sanchez, the division
and Cowboys. But I'm saying still.
But by that point,
some teams
listen. If they had the division, then I'm with you.
But I'm saying some teams still want to pad their stats. Other teams that are not smart, like if St. Louis was in this position, or other teams historically, even like they will play somebody to the max and they'll burn out. But I'm just saying that even when you are in a good position, you can still rest your quarter. Like it's still good to rest your starter. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, if you have the division.
Okay, but let's move on. We're dwelling on this.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Let's move on.
If he has the division, then I understand your point. But if you have the wild card, then right now I think you're just using the advantage of hindsight to say that they should have rested him because he got injured. But it's not
about hindsight. I'm talking even before. I was worried about him going into that game.
Sure,
but Jadeveon Clowney, I was very impressed with him. Like that was it was good to just see him look healthy and just be able to be a big part of their win. Even though they probably wouldn't have won if Derek Carr played, but they still won.
Yeah.
And they didn't have J.J. Watt either, which is because then you have to look at the other side too. They didn't have J.J. Watt, who's their franchise-changing player. So
yeah, but I think we all agree that quarterback in this day and age, we've
okay, but I'm just saying defensive. But some teams are carried by their defense, though. Look at Seattle. Look at.
I understand, but if Russell Wilson were to go down,
look at New York lately, the Giants.
But hold on, if Russell Wilson were to go down for the Seattle Seahawks, that's apocalyptic.
Nah,
it is apocalyptic.
I think they'd be fine somehow.
Right? They'd be fine somehow, but
exactly. It's all just about advancing, right? But not how you advance. Just
I wasn't agreeing. I'm saying you'd be fine somehow is what you think is something that you think would happen, but you don't know. And I think that
you have to
the fact is this: Oakland losing Derek Carr was apocalyptic, but J.J. Watt, although I think we agree that J.J. Watt could very well have been the MVP a couple years ago, if not the year before that, was not that apocalyptic for the Houston Texans because they were
defensively
prepared.
they were.
Defensively, they were fine this year.
Yeah, but I'm saying that he just adds that. They're fine, but I'm saying he adds that, like, he takes up that extra notch. And to me, like, if JJ Watt is there, like, there's a chance that your quarterback could get sacked maybe 5-6 times in that game.
I agree, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying that's not JJ Watt being out for
and
Houston
also
is not.
And he's on offense too sometimes.
No, I get it, but again, I'm saying JJ Watt being out for Houston is not a. It's not a counterbalance for Derek Carr being. No, it is not.
It really is.
And to suggest that
they want to just make you the. See, the media tries to do that. It's a quarterback driven league, but a lot of times it's not the quarterback that's the most important position. But we have to move on. We have to go on to the other games.
No, I know, but here's my thing. I just want to make this point. It's not a counterbalance, and to suggest that is not.
It really
is. It's not a good argument. It's really not.
How? Because you're saying the quarterback is more important to lose.
Yes, he is.
So you're telling me if
Jacksonville went 2-14, wasn't matter.
Okay, but it's a quarterback though.
Which quarterback? Why would a 2-14 quarterback matter to a team who's already 2-14? Like,
okay, so I'm saying,
why would RG3 matter to the Cleveland Browns?
He's their quarterback. Isn't that the most important?
No, because Derek Carr is a different quarterback. Derek Carr's
okay, well, what about when Matt Stafford and Sue were both on the Lions? Who would be a big? You're telling me if they lost Stafford, it would be a worse loss?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, speaking of the Lions,
people in Detroit, I've talked to, they'll tell you otherwise.
Okay, so when they lost Sue, why did they make the playoffs this year?
But they lost Sue 2 years ago. Last year, they didn't make the playoffs.
Okay, but last year they did make the playoffs because they just simply didn't make the playoffs. Like,
Sue was a big part of the boat when they did make the playoffs.
No, I'm not denying that. But what I'm saying is losing Matt Stafford. They lost Matt Stafford in Matt Stafford's rookie year, and they went 0-16.
We're going a while.
Speaking of the Lions, Detroit did not do well against Seattle, and I guess maybe they didn't have Ndamukong Suh. And that's probably why, although we're going to get to Miami in just a second.
They could have used him.
They could have used him the way the defense was getting stomped all over. 26-6.
No resistance at the line. Nothing.
Thomas Rawls had himself a day. Thomas Rawls was just absolutely unstoppable. Detroit had no answer for him as he rushed 27 times, 27 carries, 160 yards, and a run.
Paul Richardson,
touchdown. Paul Richardson,
but
where did this guy come from?
This guy was looking like Odell Beckham. He was that catch in the end zone. That was even harder. He had a defender in front of him and had to cradle the ball and bring it down. That was impressive.
Doug Baldwin. I just want to make this point. Doug Baldwin looked like the second coming of Jerry Rice on Saturday.
I don't know. Richardson's catch. That was next level. Like that was
impressive.
Otherworldly catching.
That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
But I have to contest that. But you could get us started.
Yeah, Doug Baldwin looked like the second coming of Jerry Rice out here. 11 receptions, 104 yards. I really liked Richardson's catch. That was really impressive. It's just when I was remembering, he only caught the ball 3 times.
Yeah.
And he was targeted 5, 6? I remember
Baldwin?
Not Baldwin.
Richardson.
Richardson.
But
he was
he did a lot with his catches.
He definitely did, right? And
quality.
It was just a team effort, but I think the game ball would go to Rawls in this situation.
Russell Wilson had again, serviceable quarterback. In the NFL, obviously we've known this through his 5-year career. He's no Dan Marino. He's not a John Elway. He's not like a Peyton Manning. He's not going to give you 400, 350-yard games consistently. But he had 224. He had 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 119.3 passer rating. Very, again,
accurate too.
The key word accurate. The key word with Russell Wilson is serviceable. But he does enough to get you there. But
I still think this is my point. Yeah, he was serviceable in this game, but I still think that Russell Wilson is so important to the Seahawks, just as the defense Sherman.
But again, they really do.
Chancellor.
They do ride the coattails. Like, their identity of that team is defense.
Yeah. But I'm saying that losing Russell Wilson would be apocalyptic.
Obviously, because he has to control the offense.
The game, right?
But
losing a guy like, and Kansas City's going to be playing next week, losing a guy like Alex Smith, yeah, he's a serviceable quarterback.
For that team, you have to, because that defense is a newly formed good defense. They're not an established good defense.
Exactly, but my point is still, Alex Smith on the Kansas City Chiefs, losing him is apocalyptic as well.
Of course, more there than even these other cases.
So for Russell Wilson to be serviceable, and to not mess up and it's weird to give him credit for it, but it's what they needed.
Game managing, the technical term.
Game management, but it's not even game management, because that is to say that he just kind of wasn't risky about it. He was risky. I'm not saying he wasn't.
Right, but I mean in terms of the stats, it wasn't like it. Because once you start to get north
set the world
of 300,
on fire.
Once you start to get north of 300, then we can say it's a really phenomenal game. But
I mean, I remember Aaron Rodgers going perfect, but only having 181 yards, and I thought that was probably one of the best performances I've seen.
Exactly.
But not all.
And that's where the quality comes in. Anyway, Matt Stafford, to me, had a good game, and I think a lot of Detroit is just. He had 205 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions, which is good. 56.2% completion, 75 pass rating, which is not bad, which is not really good.
But it's not bad.
It's not bad, because then pass ratings out of 0 to 158.3, so 75 is just in the middle. But for me with Detroit, I mean, they have Ebron, Golden Tate, they have all these guys, and I mean, they're on offense. They couldn't get a break. The defense, the Seattle defense just held them. They couldn't get.
That's what happens when you're in Seattle's home den,
which is why the defense is so good to them.
Yeah, the Seattle home den. It's just it's impressive, man.
And then they just got 2 field goals, and to me, it's really what's happening with Detroit in the playoffs is becoming what happens with the Raptors overall. And again, the Detroit Lions are very similar to the Raptors in a historically underachieving team. The Raptors have kind of resurrected that over the last 3 years. But with Detroit, they haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. They haven't run a playoff game on the road in 60 years. And this kind of narrative is just continuing to... And the referees don't like them. Those are kind of my factors with this. Obviously, 2 years ago in the playoffs, there was a pass that Stafford threw to Pettigrew. I believe it was in the third quarter. We'll get to that in corrections and clarifications. He threw a touchdown pass in the third quarter, which was called in favor of Detroit for a face guard. It was a face guard call, but then it was rescinded. And then that ultimately ended up having a huge outcome. In this game, the aforementioned pass to Paul Richardson should have been an offensive face mask. Because when he was catching the ball with his left hand, he was grabbing the face mask of Wilson, the cornerback. He was grabbing his face mask, replay showed it, and even after halftime, the referees admitted that they got the call wrong. That shouldn't have been a touchdown. And so we've seen this kind of narrative with Detroit in these, even last week against the Packers, it was the same kind of situation. The Detroit Lions, in these kind of pivotal moments of games, they get the short end of the stick, and it's just a historical thing with them. It happened in 2 years ago, as I mentioned, and it happened on Saturday night. It's true.
The call was damning. Yeah, the call was damning.
It's true.
But there's a lot of calls
that was a game-changing play.
There's a lot of calls that you can argue for all teams, like the Falcons, for example. When they got screwed in, I want to say week 5 against the Seattle Seahawks. It just, these things happen.
And it's funny, Detroit...
I don't know, I really don't know if it's
everything I said was just, it's proven.
I don't know, because here's the thing. One, let's pull the curtain back. Annikan is a Windsor native, and that means the Detroit Lions are a team that he watches and regularly cheers for.
But I'm just telling you what the league determined it. It wasn't even me.
Right, but I'm not saying... Yes.
The officials even said they made
things happen, right? Calls get missed, but that doesn't mean that team is...
No, I am not saying...
You just said the refs don't like them.
No, I'm saying that... I'm not saying the refs don't... I'm saying they get a lot of bad calls.
I didn't say the refs...
Yeah, I didn't say the refs have an agenda. They're being diabolical. I didn't say that. I just said that a lot of these controversial calls happened to them in the playoffs.
I watched it. I didn't like it. But what I'm saying is...
They threw the flag and then took it back.
But what I'm saying is you cannot just, because of a missed call, say that a team...
I didn't say
lost
that.
because...
Oh, no, I'm not saying that... No, they lost in other facets. I'm just saying that these kind of... No, it wasn't because of the refs they lost. I'm just saying they get a lot of bad calls that kind of are momentum shifting. They have momentum shifting.
Just Detroit. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, but it happens to Detroit more than other teams. It does.
No.
It does. The Calvin Johnson rule game. That even in other games that don't have as much significance,
How about the Cowboys with Des Bryant? How about the Cowboys with Des Bryant against the Packers? That was
karma.
Too.
Karma's you know what?
Listen,
that was just
stop.
no.
Honestly,
they got a call. They lost the call.
Here's why they lost the game. They couldn't stop Thomas Rawls, and that defense and the home field advantage got a little too hard. And Jim Caldwell got thoroughly outcoached by Pete Carroll. Those are the reasons.
No, I know they lost the call. They couldn't. They had no resistance. Their defense put up no resistance. They were getting pushed off the line, and yeah, obviously they lost in other facets. But I'm just saying, in the playoffs, especially recent,
I don't want to hear it with calls, man. I really don't.
I'm not saying that's why they lost. I'm just saying the calls happened.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
But they're not momentum shifting calls. I'm just saying
they are.
Calls are missed. Things happen.
They are though. But that Pettigrew play in 2014 and this one, it shipped because it was a 0-0 game. That was the first score of the game. I understand. That Paul Richardson catch.
I understand, but it happens, man.
And I saw it live. I'm like, what is this?
It happens. It even happened to the Patriots when they were facing the Panthers in a regular season game. And it was like the last play of the game and something happened in the end zone, which prevent the Patriots from winning the game, and Tom Brady yelled at the refs. And we sat here saying, imagine if it was Cam Newton who yelled at the refs. It happens. It happens.
No, but I'm saying it has results. Because when a call is missed, you now have to be more like, it throws you off. And
I don't want to hear it, man. I'm serious.
Mike,
I'm hearing it, but I'm not.
Go and talk to Jim. Go and talk. You can talk to anybody, Ebron, Golden Tate, Anquan Bolden. Go talk to anybody on the Lions. They will tell you what I'm telling you.
Calls suck. Like, it happens, but it happens.
Mike.
That's what I'm trying to say. Calls suck. It happens.
I'm not saying... Okay, but you even were the same person when we were talking about the Raptors with that Sacramento game. You said that was a bad call.
Yeah, it was a bad call.
And it had an effect on the game. That should have counted.
Yeah.
It did have an effect on the game because they would have won.
Yeah. But I'm not saying
Mike.
But what you're saying is, and we can pull back the tape, and if you'd like, we'll go to that exact spot.
I didn't say that call cost them the game.
No, what you're saying is the refs don't like them.
You know, I didn't say
argument, it's in the tape.
No, I'm saying for the Lions guy. I didn't say that call cost them the game.
No, but you said that the refs don't like them.
No,
that is a statement.
I'm saying that's how they're
hearing it.
That's probably how they're thinking. They missed the call, and the fact that you'd admit it shows that you don't have an agenda. Because when people admit something, it's because they're not against that person, right? It's because they're just being objective and they realize they missed something.
Okay,
but I'm saying that. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not saying the referees don't. I'm saying that's probably how they're thinking because it's happened to them so many times. And even they did, because I know when I watched all the post-game interviews, the players you could sense that a little bit. But I'm not saying that's what I think. That's how they think. So, I'm just saying it's a controversial call. And plus, this is just indicative of what Detroit is as a city from a wider context. Detroit historically, 2 generational players, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, retiring very early in their primes. There's been a lot of just heaping misery on that city economically, politically, and in sports. And we just saw more of that happen this weekend. Sure. Detroit, historically, they're a resilient city, but they're also a suffering city. Okay.
Let's shift focus to the Sunday games.
And Mike, I know you don't like Detroit. But it's
they
just
suck, man. They couldn't stop Thomas Rawls. Thomas Rawls looked like the next Eric Dickerson out there. Jim Caldwell's a terrible
Dickerson's
coach.
one of the best running backs ever.
I know Thomas Rawls looked like Eric Dickerson out there.
Funny enough, Detroit had the best running back all time.
Yeah, Thomas Rawls looked like just the man. Jim Caldwell can't coach to save his life, and believe me when I say it.
Jim Caldwell's a very good coach.
Listen, He's a good X's and O's guy, but when certain things like disciplining,
he's been to a Super Bowl.
Disciplining certain things like knowing the time of the clock, certain things like not calling a timeout when you are the team who has the lead with 2 minutes left, like he did, was just.
But they never had the lead though.
I'm talking about the Indiana Colts, the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
When he was a coach there, these are certain things that Jim Caldwell he's not a good coach.
No,
man.
okay.
He's a good X's and O's
you're talking
guy.
about the IQ, the kind of crucial IQ.
He's like an Andy Reid, but worse. That's what he.
Well, Andy Reid, I don't know. You can't say
right. He's like an Andy Reid.
Guy went to 5 straight NFC
good X's and O's guy will get you to the playoffs, but he will. He's like the shepherd who leads you to the near the promised land, but he doesn't get you to the promised land. That's what Jim Caldwell is. He's like a
you're on the cusp.
Yeah, he's like that shepherd who will lead you to somewhere,
you're on the brink.
but he will not get you to the play.
You're on the edge of glory.
Yeah,
Lady God.
Anyway, let's shift.
But no, Detroit will be back next year.
Yeah, let's shift focus over to Pittsburgh versus Miami, and we gotta kind of roll through these. Pittsburgh 30, Miami 12. Matt Moore.
Jay Ajayi, the next great running back in the NFL,
got held down.
Finished this year
16 rushing carries, 33 yards of offense. Meanwhile, on the other side of the field, Le'Veon Bell, 29 carries, 160 yards, 2 TDs. I like Jay Ajayi. I really do. And I think he's a good running back, but Jay Ajayi was just pounded into the dust by this.
On the road, he struggles. That's well documented. But I mean, this guy already. I mean, he did otherworldly stuff this year. He had 206-yard rushing game this year.
Yeah, no, he'll definitely be back. I think JaVale.
He had 1,200. And he had 1,272 yards. Dolphins. Everyone and their grandma knew the Dolphins were probably going to lose this game. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I think just the offense was just much more better on Pittsburgh's side than they got credit for, and I know they're better at home for some reason, and no one really knows why, but they're much better at home. I think it's just a case of the home crowd and energy like that and yada yada. But I think I do want to say that this offensive line all year for Miami was fantastic, but in the playoffs they just let them down. And it's not an indictment. I think they'll be back next year, but I just want to talk about that offensive line. They really let down Matt Moore and the guys here. Matt Moore was just getting hit around. It was actually pretty weird to see. Like he got sacked 5 times. So that's not good.
But I mean, the memo's still out on Mike Tomlin. I mean, Mike Tomlin is not a great coach as of right now,
which is weird because he's got 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, no, he only has one.
Sorry, you're right.
He only has one. 2005, that wasn't his. He won 08. So, I mean, the memo's still out on him. He's still. I mean, you beat all the good teams. You lose to a lot of mediocre teams in the regular season. I mean, even Terry Bradshaw went on Speak for Yourself 2 weeks ago and was saying things like, I don't even consider him a great coach. I don't even think he's just a good coach. He said that he's a very good motivator. He's very inspirational. But as far as this very low IQ stuff, tripping players and just doing things like getting into, he almost has a kind of like a wide receiver kind of implode kind of mentality.
But see, here's the thing, right? Would you rather a Mike Tomlin or a Jim Caldwell? Right, and this is the conversation. Would you rather a coach who can?
Well, that's just passive and just there.
Would you rather a coach who's a leader of men?
Jim Caldwell is a leader of men.
Yeah, because that's what his title is. But I don't think he's a good leader of men. To be honest with you, but here's my point. Would you rather a coach who's a good motivator, leader of men, will get the best out of you, but maybe struggles with the X's and O's and is a little bit of aloof, or would you rather the X's and O's guru who just isn't a good motivator and will not sometimes get the best out of you?
No, the thing is, yes, because especially in America, in North America, we like exuberant people over smart people. We like the people that are very charismatic. They exude and employ the things that we think are very rock star like or very kind of transcending 100%. Characteristics, but then we still lose. No, sometimes it's just about I'm going to put my hard hat on and I'm just going to try and execute the right way. And football is a very IQ sport. And you have to have IQ. And Jim Caldwell is one of the best at that.
Which is something that Meryl Streep or Strep did not get when she made her joke. But anyway.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly. But yeah, I feel like it's good to have a little of both. But we too many people pride the full out Tomlin. You need both.
No, I agree.
You need a person 100%. With both,
but
which is why I think somebody like Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I think Pete Carroll's a good example of the balance. But I agree wholeheartedly. But I'm saying that in this day and age, right?
Overly exuberant characteristics where it will implode.
It does, but would you rather that over the smart guy who can't really get the best out of you because he doesn't really know what to say in the times to motivate you? And even with Jim Caldwell too, I do think he is a bit of a loophead sometimes. Like, trust me, you cannot in the playoffs have discipline issues with penalties with the Detroit Lions like you did on Sunday.
Detroit is coming. They're going to be back next year.
But anyway,
they're on the cusp of
greatness. Tomlin, right?
Yeah, they won the game. They did what...
Yeah, they did what they had
to do. But the memo's still out on him. He still has to win these games.
Right.
Because you can't live... It's easy. And no country's better at resting on your laurels than America. That's how somebody like Jeff Fisher can still have a job. You cannot rest on your laurels and expect some people to do it and then other people not. And that's the thing. There's also an inconsistency, but we have to move on.
Yeah. I think it's an inconsistency in the case of divisions. But anyway, the New York Giants, Green Bay Packers. Green Bay 38, your New York Giants way less than that, 13. And a lot of...
Oh, yes, I have to get to this.
Yeah, before we get to the game, you know what? You want to talk about the game or do you want to talk about Odell Beckham?
Yeah, so obviously last week it was a very big... It was really the hot take, the hot topic. If you wanted a hot take in sports last week, you were talking about this. The New York Giants, the wide receivers boat cruise to Miami. And you saw the picture with Trey Songz and apparently Justin Bieber was there.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to this. I just want to hear your opinion on it first. And
for me, there's an old saying in sports that's very key. And a lot of young athletes... It's funny how I'm saying young. I'm young.
Yeah.
a lot of young athletes don't get it. It's an old foundational saying in sports. Practice as if you're the worst. Perform as if you're the best. And there was something I really feel that, I don't care... Yes, I don't care if you're an otherworldly talent, you're a transcendent person, you're gifted beyond measure. You still, if I'm, and it was a really good point that,
Get on with it.
No, it was a very good point that, what's this guy's name? This one guy, what's his name? He was a football, anyway, he was on Colin Cowherd's show last week, I'll remember his name, and he was talking about it that if, there's a whole month to do that, basically going out, that what you should just focus, go over you can never be too prepared. Watch film, go over the playbook, do things throughout the week. Yes, you had a day off, but in order for you to be, because no one is going to fault you for being extra prepared to go up against the Packers, who are, by the way, just on a now 7-game winning streak. You could have prepared. Miami's not going anywhere. The club's not going anywhere. All those things are not going anywhere. Just focus, zero in for your playoff game because you never know. You're trying to make a Super Bowl push, and that game may not even be there. That opportunity may not even be there in a week's time, so I'm going to go all in.
You know what? Here's my thing. If he went on the party on, let's say, a la Vince Carter graduation the day before or the day
that's
of,
different, though.
Right? Then I understand. Then I understand your point. If it happened Thursday, I understand your point. But the fact that it happened on Monday is my issue's not it's what gets me because the game's on Saturday. You party on Monday. And we don't know, he may have been training like a madman Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He could have been training like a madman, and for some reason, he just did not have a game on Sunday.
But see, and another... He does not have the game. But another way, celebrate rarely, grind daily. No, that's something... No, because if you are a top... Because top talent isn't enough. It's top work ethic and top preparation.
But you don't know how he was preparing from Tuesday to Saturday. And therefore, that's why I feel like listen, the narrative is sexy because we as 9-to-5ers love to...
It's not about a narrative.
People
it's not
who
about,
are millionaires and love to go...
I'm not lambasting
party.
anyone.
We were
because in my mind, I'll be one day as well.
Right? But like my whole thing is, you have to understand. If he spent the entire Monday, because Monday is basically the day off for football players. Let's be honest with you. Monday is the day off. So
you can never be over-prepared.
If he spends Monday...
Never be too ready.
No, hold on. Like, if he spends Monday watching the entire series of Fairy Tale, or he spends the entire series day watching the series of Attack on Titan Season 1. By the way, Season 2 is coming out. Can't wait.
Wow.
If he spends like the time watching
back,
right? But if he spends the entire time watching like movies and just watches the entire trilogy of Night at the Museum, and just doesn't but it doesn't go reported, and he just happens to have a bad game on Sunday. Meanwhile, he's training Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Are we doing the same thing? No, it's the fact that he took a picture with millionaires and it psychologically gets us to the core and we hate it. Listen, do I think he's a good guy? No. Do I think he should train harder? Yes. Do I think that sometimes he's full of himself? Yes.
The fact
that if he goes and parties on Monday and the game is on Sunday, I'm not mad. Like what are you talking about?
No. It's not about being mad. But especially if I'm Odell Beckham and I already know my history in just this season that's not even 6 months ago, what the kicking the net incident, the crying on the sideline.
Yeah, see, this is a point that I think that is better. Because
but
the point of you are Odell Beckham, you know.
Okay, but
social media wise, I know, but like, so you know, social media is going to be all over you when you do this.
Yes,
right. That's the point.
My point is not even really social media because those are mostly cyber humans, but I'm saying even the professional media who do this as a living, they're gonna excoriate you and vilify you, and they're gonna get on your case.
This point I agree with.
But even then, but then again, someone's like, but Annikan, don't care what people think. I'm a maverick. No, but at the same, you still have to. Yeah, but then there's that fine line. But no, you can never be too prepared. There's some people who, like Michael Jordan, he would practice every single day, and you will still wish there was more time to practice.
But you forget that he would go to Atlantic City to gamble.
That's after he'd already advanced 2-3 rounds in the playoffs.
But he would go and
Beckham, this is his first game.
What are you talking about? He would go in championship games.
I know, but I'm saying he'd already built so much before. When he was a second-year player, he wasn't doing that. Third-year player, he wasn't. That's in the 90s when he's already built a reputation. So what I'm just saying with Odell Beckham is, yes, I even like my larger point of...
How is that relevant?
Huh?
How is that relevant that when he just because he built a reputation...
I'm saying he's already performed and won at the next level.
So because of that, he's suddenly...
This is your first playoff game. Treat it with the preparation and the attention to detail that it deserves.
But like, you never know, he could still...
This guy had 4 catches for 28 yards.
Yeah, but it's not like Antonio Brown, who, by the way, had a great game, sets the world on fire when he goes into the playoffs. No! It's his 7th playoff game. Antonio Brown
the expectations.
Has only had 2 touchdowns in his playoff career, and those 2 touchdowns came on Sunday night.
But if you're Odell Beckham, you already know.
Sunday afternoon.
Like I said, you know the media backlash that's going to take place. Just do everything to just be quiet for a week, prepare, win the game, and then you're
the point I'm agreeing. This is the point I'm agreeing with. You know that as a football star who gets a lot of attention for being stupid, you should...
And for things that are really non-issues.
Yeah,
and
for things that are non-issues.
That's when you
should know that you should...
Which is really my point. But I'm just saying that is my big point. I'm just saying like the two things together because of that, that's why you zero in.
Right, but like my whole thing, I agree with that point, but I think that the issue itself, going to the game... and after going to the game on Sunday and partying on Monday, which is literally 6 days before the game, is nothing to be complaining about.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying as like a sports pure, somebody like all the top, like you have to be zero. I always like those athletes for me who are just zeroed in. They don't go to party and club. And in Odell Beckham's case, I mean, if you're like Victor Cruz, who's a shell of himself on the field,
hey, man.
he still went. But even for him, I would give the same advice because you're known. Because sometimes even if you're known over somebody who's more productive than you but doesn't produce as much, you're still in that category because you're known and your name draws headlines. Like if Terrence Williams on the Cowboys does that, it's not going to be a story. Except maybe that it's the Cowboys, but as a player, or if Allen Robinson did that, it wouldn't be a story. Like those guys, but because you're Odell Beckham, you have to have that. Like even Brandon Marshall, if you're a Brandon Marshall or Odell Beckham type person, that's going to attract headlines. But not even just for that, because you're a disciplined athlete and you're the greatest, you think you're the best, and you want to perform to your ceiling, to your potential ceiling, and where your talent dictates that you should perform at that level, you should take that approach. That's just my thing.
If you're partying 6 days before your game, but you practice 5 days,
Eric Mangini,
5 days before,
and that was the guy, Eric Mangini, who I mentioned earlier. He said that he's been a front office guy in the league. He's been a coach, and I agree with that, because you as a coach, that's what you want to see from your lead by example as a top player.
Do I think you should have spent Monday doing film and not partying? Yeah, but I also know that if you party on Monday and the game is that week Sunday, then it really wouldn't affect you in the grand scheme of things.
Well,
you get what I'm saying?
It did.
No, it didn't, because
it did.
If you party on Monday and the game is on Sunday, it won't affect you.
It did.
It will not affect you.
It really did.
It's so, like, honest to goodness.
Even Odell Beckham's the kind of person that if you said Odell Beckham's seen eating chocolate chip cookie in public park, innocent, right? It's innocent.
No, but see, that's my point. Because he is a star that garners a lot of attention, he shouldn't have done it, because he knows that if he has a bad game, people will point to him partying on Monday. But to be completely honest with you, up until Sunday when I was like, there goes another drop ball, that's when I remembered he posted something on Instagram about him partying. But I didn't care on Monday. Why would I care on Monday if the game's on Sunday? Why? And this is my point. People just like to make so much things out of nothing.
I'm not making but the results. The proof is in the pudding. The results show. Honest to goodness, the only thing he's at fault for is posting it on social media. That's the only thing he's at fault for. I think I would have the same reaction. I don't even think people would be upset if he just stayed at home and was posting selfies of himself at home and then had a bad game. It's like, why are you posting selfies when you should be looking at film? No one would say that. People just, they get, I think what it is people get really upset to their core that millionaires are partying on the I'm not saying you, but I'm saying other people, because you've explained your point clearly. I think other people, to their core, average sports fan,
get upset,
and just society,
right? Get upset that millionaires are chilling on a boat, and they like to pick at little things.
Which is why society is called society, because it's a bunch of people that think below a profound level. Because when you put a bunch of mass people, the more people get into something, the lower the IQ of the thought process. Like, you've noticed that. When you put a lot of people in something, things tend to go down. Things tend to move. Yeah, it tends to go down. So that's why. But me and you, who are more well versed in this, we can see. Obviously, we can argue the more finer line, Yeah, we can argue the deeper context. But yeah, that's just my thing. They've lost. They're out. Now you can go to Miami all you want, but I'm sure you didn't want to go to Miami this week.
Nah, probably not. Anyway, let's focus on a couple quick hitters. We've got actually 5. So, Raptors, recent 2-game losing streak, both because of blown leads. Quick point on the Raptors. I'm going to just say this. The Raptors have not been playing defense well as of late. If you want to hold leads in the NBA, you need to play good defense to hold the lead. Otherwise, you're just going in a tit-for-tat scoring matchup, and that never works. It never works. So, you got to play defense if you want to hold a lead, and that's why the Raptors are losing. You got to play better defense, especially in the fourth.
Yeah, they blew a 13-point lead against Houston. 7 minutes left in the fourth.
Yeah, you cannot let Jimmy Butler score 42 on you, and you cannot let James Harden have 30, 10.
But I mean,
11.
like I said,
sorry.
Yeah, last week Jimmy Butler was just on torch mode. He was just on this guy was lawnmower. He was
I understand, but if you are the
mowing
Raptors,
over everybody.
Yeah, but if you are the Raptors, that Jimmy Butler,
it can't happen against the Raptors. Yeah,
it cannot.
But it just seemed like he was just. I don't care who's against me.
Yeah, it didn't
I'm gonna destroy them.
I'm pretty sure he did the same thing to Cleveland too. So listen, it happens. I get it. It happens, but you got it. If you want to be a successful team,
it would even be more of an issue for Cleveland.
Yeah, if you want to be a successful team in this league, you have to play defense when you are holding leads.
Right. Exactly.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
All right. Next one: Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey.
Lost
We didn't
in
get to
48
talk.
seconds.
We didn't get to
talk about it because we were not together. But got knocked out in 48 seconds. There's really not much deep thought that needs to go into this. It's just. To me, Rousey has mentally checked out of the game.
Yeah, you know what? And I think that a lot of people were saying, "Oh, they just like to build." No, this isn't what this is about.
This is not a media construction.
Yeah, the fact that you lost in 48 seconds, you came to the belt thinner. One, your training camp sucks.
After over a year.
Yeah, your training camp sucks. Two, it doesn't look like you were working on anything else from the film we watched besides boxing while someone was in front of you. Three, and four.
Right.
You didn't go to the strategy that everyone knew you need to go to beat Amanda Nunes. Those are what we're criticizing.
Right. And like I've always said, the UFC is an all-in or all-out sport.
Thank you.
You cannot be thinking, am I still in this? The minute you start questioning your dedication, you're done.
Yeah.
And Ronda Rousey, to me, I guess I want to say she has some weaker mentality, but then when you get into suicide and then you're kind of playing with fire there, and then it's like. She has a weak, but then that kind of, in a way, that exacerbates my point. But I don't want to go there.
That's really like if there's a mental issue,
that's why I've kind of shied away from that because I'm sensitive to that her feelings that she was going through.
I think the facts is this: Ronda Rousey has checked out mentally from UFC.
Like
the reasons why. I don't want to get into that because there could be some real deep-seated issues, and from there, it's like
personal.
But see, I don't think we're calling Ronda Rousey soft. I don't think we're doing that.
She's done.
I think we're saying that she didn't do the right things to win, and therefore she is mentally checked out.
And for me, honestly, one thing I've really liked that's been brought up in the last 2 weeks is that UFC is a sport that was really Ronda Rousey was dominating the women's division really in its infancy. It had not been fully elevated to the level it is now, which is why we see that every belt in her weight division, like it's been gone. It's been Rousey 1 second, home, Tate. It's been bouncing. Like
Nunes is. I think Nunes is going to be the mainstay. She's a mini cyborg.
But I'm just saying it's been switching. That's the point.
It's been switching because everyone is so good that
because when she was going 10-0, 9-0, 8-0, it was the sport was developing. And it wasn't really where it is now, and it's really because of her that there was she's a pioneer. She was a pioneer. She's an innovator, and we understand that. But your chess piece has been knocked off the board.
Yeah, I guess. Let's talk about a couple more topics. Coach K's departure. He has taken a leave of absence for surgery. This is something that I just kind of want to get the little kind of NCAA content in there. The one thing what's funny? When I was watching the game, it was Duke's first game without Coach K. They actually did this. They left Coach K's seat open. I'm like, is he going through a tough time? It's not like God forbid, let's knock on wood.
Oh, so you didn't know about it till after?
No, I mean, let's not. No, I knew about it, but first game, they have Coach K's seat left open. Knock on wood. I was like, I hope to God he doesn't have cancer or something. What's going on?
Yeah, so basically what happened was
he just has hip surgery.
He left the team to repair a fragment of a herniated disc.
Yeah.
In his back.
Oh, it's a back surgery?
Yeah, it's his back.
Never mind. It's not even hip surgery. It's back surgery, right?
Yeah, so... Yeah, he's expected to miss 4 weeks. He had a successful surgery last week, USA Today reported. And Jeff Capel is in charge of coaching duties while he's on his leave. And obviously just wishing him speedy recovery.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is...
I still don't like you at all, but...
Me either, but... No, I you know what? There's a healthy... I don't like Duke, but I respect Coach K and all he's done. right? But the whole thing is they left his seat open. That was the most pretentious like garbage I've ever seen in my life. It's not like he's got cancer or something. Knock on wood. It's not like he's got cancer or something. It's just him going for back surgery. Relax. I heard about him going for surgery and taking a leave of absence shortly after the Grayson Allen thing, which is a completely different level of pretentiousness that we shouldn't even get into. They basically suspend the guy indefinitely. 1 game is indefinite to them, but whatever.
Yeah, see, that's why when they talk about discipline, that's not discipline.
This is why I hate Duke. They get so pretentious.
Indefinite.
Yeah,
when we say indefinite, I'm thinking 4 games, 5 games.
Honest to God, I thought it was going to be 3 games, and then he's back in.
3 games, I don't even think sends enough of a message.
No, but see, I thought like Duke was going to be like, okay, we're going to indefinite suspension him. As soon as we lose 2 straight, he's back in. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was
but then when it's discipline, but the thing is, when you're really disciplining somebody, you're not thinking of whether you win or lose. Yeah. You're just thinking about this person needs to be corrected.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that's what Duke would do. They would pretend.
Yeah, that's what they would do, but that's not what they should do.
They pretend like it's this, and then just be pretentious about it. But anyway, let's focus on another topic. The Warriors had a game against
this is my
Memphis.
topic.
Annikan loves to trash on the Warriors.
No,
Annikan, you have... where are we at? We're almost an hour into the show. You have 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, so basically, yes. So Friday night, we witnessed an extremely epic collapse by the Golden State Warriors, and one that really kind of just exacerbates and supports the opinions I've opined on the show dating back to last year. And it was really just great to see because, again...
5 seconds.
There's the populist view and there's the right view. So basically, Golden State led by 24 points. And before I even get into that, there's an old saying in sports that basically...
I've extended your time to 15 seconds. Go.
Yeah, so they led by 24 with 5 minutes in the third quarter. They didn't score a field goal for over 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. Imagine, Thompson and Katie both have empty trips. Troy Daniels hits 4 threes. Zach Randolph, Tony Allen, the tenacious defense, the grit, grind, and guile, and just the tenacious, tough
don't forget Mike Conley,
mentality. Yeah, Mike Conley, 27 and 11, he was balling, and it was just amazing. Like the Warriors just got owned. Obviously, clearly, Memphis is a more physical team, the tougher team, and the fake tough guy got exposed by the real tough guy. Zach Randolph owned Draymond Green. And David West.
I think we all agree that Zach Randolph is not the guy to trifle with. He's the wrong one. Yeah. Zach Randolph may be
David West was afraid of him.
Yeah, I know. Zach Randolph may be the toughest guy in the league. Let's be honest with each other. Like, in terms of him and Matt Barnes may be the 2 best fighters in the NBA today. Right? Yeah. I don't think it's...
Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, I was about to say Serge Ibaka is pretty tough too. But there's... And you know what, I don't know about Matthew Dellavedova. Like, he might be a fighter.
He is, because with that down under culture, he
might be a fighter, but the point I'm trying to make is...
Like, if I were to tell you that the Warriors were up by 24 with 5 minutes left in the third, finished the quarter ups 98-79, and would not score for basically 10 minutes in the fourth quarter and lose... You would shoot me.
Yeah. But anyway...
they lost the game.
But see, we talk about the Raptors blowing leads.
And that's one of probably the best comebacks I've seen in the last decade easily in the NBA.
Yeah, and so we talk about
Mike Conley had 27 and 12.
Yeah, which I knew because he was on my fantasy team.
23 points, 12 assists.
We talk about
Troy Daniels. I wish we could talk about
Yeah, we talk about the Raptors blowing leads. How about the Warriors, right? It happens, but I'm just saying, like, as the Raptors for 2 straight games.
Right.
But anyway, let's focus on this one. We have literally like no time. Arsenal, Preston, North End. 2-1 Arsenal, but man, they had to fight for it.
They were scared.
They had to fight for it.
They scored a goal in the first 7 minutes.
Yeah, and Preston, you know what? They did the equivalent to, remember Disney's Recess? When Mikey was the goalie for Lawson's team, and then TJ and Vince and Spinelli were the soccer tournament. You know which one I'm talking about? Like all game long, Lawson's team was just relying on Mikey to get him through it. That's exactly what it looked like.
I don't remember it. I've probably seen it, but it's been a while since I watched.
That's exactly what that
11
game
years since I've watched Recess. So
man, I'm dating myself here, but that episode of Disney's Recess where that happened, That was a foot. Like, that's exactly what that game reminded me of.
Nothing like little Disney cartoons.
Right? That's exactly what that game reminded me of. After Preston North End scored that goal, they completely locked it down offensively. They were not letting them score. But Arsenal had to work for it. Man, did they ever have to fight for it. But Arsenal ended up avoiding the scare. The FA Cup is the FA Cup. If a team loses, that's in a big Premier League spot.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really care at the end of the day? But
yes,
it is what it is.
I do.
I mean, Arsenal didn't even have a full roster. Let's be honest. I get it.
They had a lot of injuries. They couldn't have a full roster.
It's not like Chelsea brought out the big guns to go face
well, I didn't watch the Chelsea game, so
yeah, it's not like they brought the big guns
Peterborough?
to face. Yeah, I think it was Peterborough United, and they didn't.
Peterborough?
Yeah.
There's a team called Wow.
Exactly. Why would you bring out the big guns against a team called Peterborough? No offense.
They sound like they're from Ontario Hockey League.
Oh, my Lord.
Wow.
Oh,
Peterborough. We're really more attached to England than I thought.
No, it definitely is. But, like, Chelsea didn't bring out the big guns against Peterborough United, so why would I'm trying to show Annikan that this is a thing. Look, Peterborough United.
I know they're. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they're a team in the third tier of English football. So, it's not like they brought the big guys against Peterborough United. So to say that Arsenal would have brought the big guns against Preston North End, I don't know about that one. Let's be honest. Anyway, let's take the break. Let's get into the rundown. We've got an hour and 4 minutes left into the show. And
let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the rundown. Welcome back to the Sports Misfits. I'm your host, Michael Asiffo.
And I'm your host, Annikan Okutinyang.
Annikan, quick rundown. It's going to be really weird, but are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, rundown. Okay, first question. Okay, so Chris Cyborg. Her as the guy who's always talking on FS1. I know her as one of the greatest women.
Jason
MMA
Whitlock
fighters.
seems to have a crush on her.
Yeah, because she's awesome, but she got in trouble. She's got flagged for
Which
potential.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, she's huge. Like, are you kidding me?
I'm not surprised.
She, I saw her. You know what's funny? Because I saw her post an Instagram photo. Okay, so let's go by the timeline. She got in trouble for a doping test, a flag doping test by USADA. It's a potential doping failing test. If any years, how many years does Cyborg get suspended for?
Oh, I can't predict that.
I would say, like, given by her excuses.
2?
Because, like, okay, when you look at the timeline of it, she got flagged for the test after passing up 3 fights to go fight at 145 because how Holm is going to defend the title against Dejerman, I think is her name. She's a very good high class kickboxer. So it's going to be when you're that fight, Holm versus her in Brooklyn, is going to be a good fight. But we're going to get to her in correction and clarification. But anyway, Cyborg actually passed up that chance to fight at 145 due to the reasons of she can't pass weight. She can't make weight. Not D Romani. She's a very good high class kickboxer. But anyway, my point is that she passed up the fight. And then she posts a video on Instagram. And we talk about, this is what we talk about with Odell Beckham. If you're going to go party, go party. But don't go posting on Instagram because you're going to get in trouble. Yeah. Cyborg posted an Instagram photo of her deadlifting 315 pounds. Not very many people, let alone women, can deadlift 315 pounds. Wow. She's deadlifting 315 pounds. Yeah, like, listen, we're former athletes, I don't know if everybody knows. Annikan was a high-class basketball athlete back in Windsor.
Oh, I still am.
Yeah, he still is a high-class athlete back in Windsor.
And Mike is a power lifter. I'm
not a power lifter. Don't tell people things. Then they're going to get disappointed. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell people I'm a power lifter. And then
everyone on the York basketball court is afraid of Mike because if he gives them a forearm, they might pass out.
I don't play I play very soft.
They might die of cardiac arrest.
But I think she's gonna get the death penalty here. I think she's gonna get 3 years.
Oh wow, I was like, what?
I think she's gonna get I would call it the USADA death penalty. 3 years.
USADA.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
The lowest amount I've seen was Yoel Romero because of his situation, which is legitimate, but Michael Bisping will not let him forget it. But I think she's going to get 3 years because her reasons have not been great, so I would say 3 years. Next question. The BCS National Championship. It's actually tonight. We've got Alabama, Clemson. At the time we're recording this, we are making this prediction. We're probably going to have this up mid-game, but at the time
I'm picking Clemson.
I'm gonna pick Alabama.
I'm gonna pick Clemson in the near something like I'm gonna say 40. I'm gonna say like 35-30. I don't want to go into the 40s because that can be getting ridiculous. I'm gonna say like 35-30 because I feel it's gonna be a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah, I think it's
I feel like
be...
Deshaun. Like usually this doesn't happen, especially after you've gone to the title the year before. You don't usually start off as mediocre as Clemson did and get back here and finish as strong as they have. But they've done it, and the last few weeks they've just been focused.
They understood, like, as mediocre as they did, they've only got one loss.
Exactly.
And if you lose twice, which I hate, I don't agree with this rule, but if you lose twice, you can kiss your national championship bid goodbye. And for Clemson, as mediocre as they started out, they only lost one time. So I think that answers your question. I'm still going to go with Alabama. I think Alabama's going to pull it out. I'm going to say 30 or 33-20. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Alabama. Listen, all year Alabama.
They've tightened up their offense is prolific, Clemson's, and their defense they've tightened up a lot of those They've really tightened their defense is.
It's
like they exposed Ohio. They shut out Ohio State. Like they didn't score a point. It's not even a field goal.
I mean, we were talking about this. Ohio State. I think
31-0.
I think Ohio State is a second seed. I think they're a good team. But
Michigan, to me, that just even further shows why Michigan deserved to be there.
But I don't think that. I think Alabama just all year long they've been really good. Like just otherworldly good. I think Alabama's here and here's everybody else. And, as we find out, at the top of everybody else is Clemson. But, like, even Washington, who have a great, it's not Clemson offense, but who have a great offense, got basically handed a very severe beatdown. And it wasn't even close. It was a very severe beatdown. So I think Alabama's going to pull it out here.
Bo Scarborough's the key.
Yeah, Bo Scarborough's the key.
For Alabama. And Deshaun Watson for Clemson.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go up to the next topic. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they had their streak ended at 16 wins. Do you think this streak was a fluke? Or do you think
No, definitely not. In a sport like the NHL, if you can win 16 games, like in a very low scoring, very high physical impact sport, if you can win 16 games, you're doing something right. And
yeah,
I mean, I don't care who it is. If Toronto wins 16 games in a row, you're doing something right. Like that doesn't happen by accident or just by happenstance.
You know what?
It is deliberate. It's intentional, and there's a purpose.
I definitely would agree with you, except for the fact that in a lot of their games, their offense was like Edmonton Oilers mid-'80s like. It was so good, and I just don't think that is sustainable. And you hear that word a lot in the NHL. It's just that the game, if they were winning 16 games in a row, and the scores were like 2-0, 2-1, like maybe an odd 3-1 here, then I'm okay with it. But like those were not the scores that you'd see. You see some of these 5-4, 5-3, 5-2, 5-1, 6-0, like really good offensive performances. And I don't think that's sustainable. Now, they could turn around and just play really good defense because their defense was really good during that 16-game winning streak. But I'm just saying, the offense, I think, is going to take a step back. We've already seen it after their 16-game win streak. They lost 2 straight and then finally pulled out a win in overtime against the Flyers. So it's not like they've been just humming along since their loss to the Capitals. Yeah, I think they're good. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I just think that this doesn't mean that they're the best team ever. I don't think they're the best team in the NHL. But I think
obviously not. But they're definitely a contender. Like they have a chance.
I don't even think they're a contender. I think they're a mid-playoff team.
No, that's what I mean. Like once they're going to get into the playoffs and they'll have a chance.
Yeah.
as any of the other 15 teams will.
Yeah, I think that it's.
But
yeah, I would tend. I think we're somewhere around the same area. Like
isn't that the longest streak of all time?
No, it's the second longest.
Second longest streak of all time.
Yeah, it's the second longest in the NHL.
Was it the highest? Was
17.
So they were almost there.
They were almost there, but my point is this: is just that if they were winning games by defensive effort, where things can be you can coach defense in the NHL, right? Where things were coached and they were just taking out the blue line. So. Obviously, it's not like in the NBA. In the NBA, the reason why it's such an offensive-centric league in the NBA is because you can coach offense to a team. With defense, it's a defensive system. It's not a defense. It's hard to coach defense in the NBA.
Yeah,
with the NHL, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, because. But then a lot of that also has to do with buying in.
Yeah.
In the NBA, a lot of, especially now, people like when you have a bunch of Hardens on a team or a bunch of people who are very lackluster and kind of lackadaisical.
Minus defenders.
Exactly. Right? Like for every Hassan Whiteside or Serge Ibaka, there's a million James Hardens. So.
Right. Well, not offensively, but I get what you're saying.
No, I'm saying defensively.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I was just trying to
defensively, obviously, because we're talking defense.
Yeah, but it's a different situation. So I think if they were winning by coachable means, if like somehow the system, if there was somehow a better system and it was a system thing, then I would be like, yeah, definitely they could make it. But I just don't think the way they were winning is sustainable from a system standpoint. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, next question. Chelsea, they recently lost their first EPL matchup in, I want to say 13 games, 13 contests. They lost 2-0 to Tottenham, proving that Chelsea is human. So, the question is, does that mean there's any chance that a team will overtake Chelsea for the Premier League title? Or should we just concede the championship to Chelsea now?
Well, obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan. But I won't say it's time to concede it now.
Yeah.
There's still 4 months of Premier League left.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And as I always say, and the Premier League's official slogan is the greatest show on earth. And the reason why that is because it's such an explosive league. It's not the Italian league. It's not the Spanish league where it's a 2 or 3 horse race. And even the third horse, it's not really in it. It's just to try and boost the product. But yeah, Chelsea is still there. Man City or Liverpool is not too far behind. Man City's there, and yeah, what's the point gap between Chelsea and Liverpool? I know it was 6.
I think it's 5 between Chelsea and Liverpool.
Yeah,
5.
It was 6 before. They were 2 games clear.
Yeah,
but yeah, like as of December 29th or 28th. But yeah, it's not over. In the Premier League, it's never over. We've seen literally the last day determine the champion. It's
5 between Chelsea and Liverpool.
The first year that Man City won in this new era, in 2012, May 2012, it literally went to the last day.
Yeah,
of
and even I wrote about
between Man U and them.
I wrote about that because I was like, we need playoffs. We need playoffs because after that, 2012, it was so
and
close.
A Nigerian great defender, Taye Taiwo, had a lot to do with that. But he was manning the back. He was controlling the back of the field that day. He was controlling the back. But yeah, it's not over yet. I'll be foolish to say.
Yeah, me too, definitely. Anyway, let's get into corrections and clarifications. Okay, so corrections and clarifications. The first one is I made a mistake on the UFC fighter world-class kickboxer, Germaine de Randamine. That's her name. World-class kickboxer. She had trouble adjusting to the life of the UFC when it comes to the kickboxer here, wrestler here, in jiu-jitsu here, and she got a lot of losses on the ground. Now, she's better than advertised on the ground apparently, and she's going to fight Holly Holm. She fights better at 145 anyway, so hopefully we'll see something good out of that fight. It's going to be a really good fight. Holly Holm's a good kickboxer. She's a good kickboxer. Hopefully we see something cool there. Anyway.
So my clarification was about the 2014 playoff game between the Cowboys and the Lions, about the Pettigrew catch. It occurred in the fourth quarter. The confusion was it was actually 3rd and 1. Why I said third quarter. So it was in the fourth quarter. It was on the 3rd and 1, and it was a face guarding call on Hitchens, the defensive end for Dallas, and it was against. It took place against Pettigrew, so it was the fourth quarter, not third.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good show today. I think.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was very substantive, very thorough.
It was long.
It was long. It was quantity and quality. I felt. Yeah.
Anyway, back next week.
Yes, of course.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.